Just a few more seconds. And there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Fabulous with Fabio. I have a fabulous guest today, Jen Spence. I'm going to talk about her. Yes, be ready, because today we're going to really understand why this person, Jen Spence, is so fabulous and how she's helping other people become fabulous as well. This interview can be viewed here in my YouTube channel, Fabio Marques 007. And of course, you can listen to the same interview later in our podcast, Powerful Insights for Business. And below the video, if you're watching this live, you're not going to see it right now, but you can come back later, because below the video, you're going to see this in the description, all the links to Jen Spence's website and all the things you can learn about her so you can help your organization be more successful, and you can help you be more successful as well. So, Jen, thank you so much for being with us. Welcome.
Thank you. So excited to be here, Fabio. So I'm so glad to know that I am fabulous. So that just makes me feel good. And I hope it makes your audience feel good, because I know that they are fabulous as well, or they wouldn't be tuning in to hear more about how they could be even more fabulous. So thanks for having me.
You're correct. And ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully, because this lady here was a professional football player. Yes. And also an entrepreneur very early. With 10 years old, she was already selling things and helping her family succeed. And so she's got a lot of experience about sales, about leadership, and about being a team player. So, I have the privilege of having her book with me here, one of her books. This book is incredible. So look for it in Amazon if you want, and it's worth reading. So, Jen, we're going to start, and just remembering our, to remind our audience here, this interview has no post-production, no editing, no cuts. It's raw and authentic as life is. So ladies and gentlemen, she doesn't know what kind of questions I'm going to ask her. So we're going to see how fabulous she is by her authenticity, her truth, and you're going to see how interesting it is, everything she's going to share with you. So first thing, I want you to share with us, what is, in your opinion right now, your main purpose in this life? Why are you here on this planet?
Just, start soft, Fabio. Just give me a softball right there. So what is your purpose in life? Boom, there we go. That's Fabio for you folks. And that's why you tune in, because he cuts to the chase. He doesn't mince words. So really what my purpose is I believe that I was put on this earth to help organizations and people grow to the next level. Now that sounds, you're like, okay, yeah, Jan, we hear that all the time. But particularly, I believe that when people are in the right place, living out what they are talented, what they're skilled, what their heart desires, what they desire to do, when they get in that right place, they thrive. And when they thrive, that helps them financially. And when we're in a good financial place, that helps us be able to live and give even more generously, to live out whatever your purpose is, whatever your desire is, whatever impact that you want to make on this planet. So that's the underlying really core value, the core mission of Jan Spence and Associates, is just to help people grow to the next level so that they can bring more income into they say follow the money. So grow better personally and professionally so that they can help other people, so that they can do whatever it is that their calling is on this planet.
Perfect. And I love it, because, guys, we only interview people that we know without a doubt there are, honest and really doing the right thing on this earth. We can never accept, and we will never accept anyone in this show that I don't believe is a good person. So you are listening to Jan, and pay attention, because she is really, and if you go to her website, you're going to see that, their values, the way they work, about professionalism, about love, about giving, about really sharing what they know to make people grow and succeed. So now that you have reviewed to us your purpose in life, which is one of the toughest questions, right, somebody can answer, you're going to tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to this conclusion that this is your purpose in life. Okay, so tell us a little bit. You can talk for 4 or 5 minutes if you want, but give us a little bit about your background, what happened to you in the past, how did you become this fabulous human being, in front of us right now?
Oh my gosh. So, well, I'm a professional speaker, Fabio, but I know we have limited time and your audience has limited listening attention. I will say it really started. I'm a preacher's kid. So I'm the daughter of a Methodist preacher. And as a little kid, I mean, 5 or 6 years old, I would go to church. Of course, my dad, after the services, he would be, meeting and greeting people and talking to visitors and talking to new folks, talking to the parishioners there. And so while he was doing that, for number one, I was watching him. So I just saw what he did in his daily life. But I would go up to they had like a little kneeling rail, and I would give my own little mini sermon. So I was there just kind of emulating him and sharing my own take on whatever was going on. So that's really where it started. So I saw my father as a fantastic speaker. So he could communicate complex things in a simple way. He was an excellent administrator. He had volunteers and a staff that he had to motivate and encourage and keep them involved and engaged. So I saw that as well. And he also helped set goals and help people move from point A to point B. So it's a secular term, but my dad was very successful as a preacher. So it really started there, is just seeing what he did. And I think a lot of those lessons, I just absorbed that. And so I knew that in my life, in my professional life, I wanted to, whenever I had the opportunity to speak, is to make a transformation in other people, to transfer what I knew, my knowledge, to other people that would help them grow, be a good administrator, have great processes in place so that people could actually implement the things that I was sharing, or implement it, engage volunteers, etc. And also just to be a great motivator and a great leader that would inspire people to want to go to the next level, to do the next thing, to in their own personal life as well as in the organization's life. So that's really where it started with me, was at a very young age. Even for those of you out there who know what a cassette recorder is, I would sit under the Christmas tree and I would have my own little messages. I was given my own little mini keynotes back in the day, and on those video on the cassette recordings, and just sharing what I knew, what I felt would help other people. So that's really where my journey started. And then, as you mentioned in your introduction, even at 10 years old, I started selling donuts for summer camp. And I called my first business was probably when I was 15. And my sister and I started selling baked goods at a conference, and we got competition. So we had to learn how to deal with competition. My mother taught us how to reinvest our profits so that we could purchase other products to resell. We learned what sold and what didn't, I just started learning those lessons in business over time. And so that, along with listening to great experts like you, and others out there, I just took that information, put it into my heart, and said, you know what, I'm not smart enough to figure this all out myself, but let's just follow the path, follow the things that other people can tell us to do when they're the expert in that area. If it's not working, let's listen to the experts, let's follow what they do, let's do what they do, and then let's implement it to have growth. And so I've seen that in my own personal and professional life.
Please tell us, how long have you been a professional speaker?
Well, it started, I was a very tiny baby, and at 18 months old, I was speaking in full sentences, and my mother says I have not stopped since. So it started then. I don't think I was paid for that, but in the grocery store, she would have me in the little, baby carriage thing, and she'd be rolling down the aisles, and all of a sudden I would spew out this full sentence like, "Can I please have some Cocoa Puffs, please?" And people would just look and go like, this little tiny thing is speaking. So
Amazing.
it started very early. But as far as my professional career, I started in sales training, which was where my heart and my passion and my experience was. And that was in early 2000s. And then I hung my own shingle, so to speak, and started my own speaking business in 2012. And that's where it's grown from there, doing keynote speaking as well as sales training and other business growth training. So been a little while. It still feels new every day, though, because I'm keeping myself sharp and on the edge, and it's constantly evolving and changing.
That's the way to go. The only way to remain relevant and updated is to be a constant learner, to be a student, right? To
Yes.
see ourselves as students of life, because our responsibility as professional speakers is to really be always studying and sharpening the axe, right? So we can offer the cutting edge technologies and methodologies in terms of leadership, sales, and management, so people can really uh, get the shortcut from us, right? So we
Yes.
study, we are scientists of things, so people can get the shortcut from us and get the tools ready to go, ready to implement, so they can get results faster.
Love it.
So
100%. Absolutely right.
yeah, if you were not constantly studying and searching for new knowledge, you wouldn't be as good as you are as a speaker or as a consultant or trainer. So, but tell us a little bit about, the metaphor that you used for this book, because this is a real thing. You were a American football professional player. Is that correct?
Yes, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, Fabio, when you said football player. So I know you've got lots of wonderful Latin American followers. And so they're thinking she played what we call in the US soccer.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's American football. I'm not
American
talking about
football.
soccer. I'm talking American football, guys.
Yes, so it was full tackle football, and that's part of my story. I have a TEDx talk on that about always wanting to play, and that came from my mom, Fabio. So I grew up in the South, and American football is very, very big in the South. It's big in all of the US, but it's certainly even more special in the South. And so I grew up with my mom on Saturday afternoons looking at the television, watching college football, and she would say, "Oh, that looks like so much fun. I want to put on the helmet. I want to put on the shoulder pads. I want to tackle people." And so she didn't realize, and I didn't at that early age realize that, well, there's no football teams for little girls. So, but she planted that dream and that seed inside of me that made me want to play. And so I kept that through my entire adult life. My husband knew that, and we would go to American football games and NFL games, and I would echo those same words. I'm like, that looks like so much fun. I mean, I want to put on the helmet and, just tackle people. It just looked like fun. And so finally, one day, the opportunity came, and a small league was expanding into Jacksonville, Florida. And you'll have to listen to, I'll leave a little bit of a cliffhanger. You'll have to listen to the TEDx talk or read the book to find out just
I'm
kind
going
of
to put the link
fuller.
here in the description. I'm going to put the link for your TEDx talk as well, so people can see
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. It just was a journey of ups and downs and how I overcame those. But yeah, I ended up getting to play. So there's your spoiler alert. But what I learned through that process actually translates into the real world, both business and professional. So that's where my journey started. And that's where Cheer on Your Team, it was really me encouraging other people. That was what got the coach's attention. It was not my physical acumen. And because sometimes people look at me and I'm 5'2" and they think, "Oh, we thought you were going to be 6'8." And you're like, big muscles. And so they look at me and they're thinking, "You were a football player?" I'm like, "Yes, I was." But I had a different skill set. And so that also just reminds us and your listeners and your leaders out there that sometimes we think what we need as a player on our team doesn't always look like what we really need. So there's just a friendly reminder to remember that sometimes we put the blinders on and we think, "Oh, we need someone like Bob or Juan or Joe or Juanita or whatever." And yet what we really need is not exactly what we need. So we have to keep an eye out for what are the core things that we need on our team and our organizations that we can lead that can add to the overall culture of an organization. So yeah, so
I
that's a
like
little bit about what the book is about in my story.
I like that a lot, and this lesson is very, very precious. I want everybody to really pay attention to this. Many times we are locked in paradigms. We are stuck into paradigms, what we think we need for ourselves and for our teams. And we are not open enough to really see our talents and what we are able to do for ourselves and for our teams. So I challenge everybody, I invite everybody to always keep asking yourself, what do you really want? What do you really need? And be open to look into your heart, your mind, and to other people around you and see what they can offer. What can I offer? What can they offer that is really valuable? Maybe it's a little bit different than what I expected I would need, but that can be also very, very valuable. And so that's why I love so much your story about that. And that's why I believe people should be listening to you and go to your TED Talks and listen to that as well, and read your book, because a lot of people don't see what they really can do. And you're opening their eyes to that point, you know. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Let's talk about your vision, okay? And I don't want you to be modest. I don't want you to be worried about what people think. Just, I want you to dream. I want you to dream and envision yourself 5-10 years from now. Okay, let's talk about your vision for the future. I want you to think about the impact you're gonna be making in 5 or 10 years from now, or the impact you have made already. I don't know. Think about your life 5-10 years from now, and share with us your vision for your future and for our society's future. If they listen to you, if they learn something from you, how can we be 5 or 10 years from now if they would be kind enough and smart enough to listen to you and to what you're trying to tell the world?
What an excellent question. And I'll throw back to what I said earlier, that I listened to other people, I listened to other experts. And so my husband and I, after I started in sales training, my husband and I bought a small franchise service business. And we were the second ones in the United States. It came from the UK. And so there were lots of things that did not apply from the UK to the US market. So we were a bit of a pioneer, because we really, really had to change things. Just the environment, culturally, there were just a lot of things that we had to change. Mm-hmm. And this was our first time really owning a business. And so we listened to experts that were smarter than us. And I was smart enough to know that I didn't have all the answers. So I knew that I needed to reach out to people and listen to people that could tell us, hey, here's the formula that works. So when you ask me about my vision, I believe I really, as you mentioned earlier, started selling at 10 years old and went through, selling, being a consultant to very big, Fortune 10, 20, 500, Fortune 100 companies in the US and internationally, reaching out to them and actually helping them with their sales and their promotions. So, and I did that simply because I was open, what you said earlier, open to hearing new ideas and knowing that I didn't have all the answers. So I would encourage your listeners, everyone is a leader, whether you have a title or whether you are an employee, you're the leader of yourself. And so you have the opportunity to say, what can I do with what I have that's right in front of me? So I believe as we lead ourselves is to look for more information, and not only just look for people say knowledge is power, but applying knowledge is really power. So we can have all the knowledge in the world, Fabio, because there's plenty of it out there. We have Google now. We used to have the library, but now we have Google. So knowledge is great, but it's really applying that knowledge that makes a difference. So for me, for my vision, when you talk about 5 or 10 years down the road, would be that I could connect with companies and organizations and even individuals that are open, just like you said earlier, to saying, you know what, there might be a different way. And so as I work with groups, I look at the problems that they're having are they don't have the right people in place, or they're stuck. You referenced this earlier. They're just thinking, we just need another one in this position and they'll be fine. To look for different kinds of people and that even neurodiversity, people, the way that people process things. Not everyone works well in the office. Not everyone works well at home. We've learned that in the past several years, that there are many different ways that we can engage with each other. So my desire, my vision would be that people would reach out to the resources, through me particularly, is to be able to engage with them to make sure that they've got the right people in place, that they've got the right processes in place, so that ultimately turns into profits. So whatever profits may be, nonprofit, just an altruistic goal, whatever that profit word means to them, but that they've got the right people, they've got the processes in place to help them thrive and engage. And then the company thrives, the people that the company serves thrives, the leaders thrive, everyone thrives. And I said it earlier, it comes back to the money. It's not all about money, but when people are financially secure, and when we are taking some element of that insecurity out, people will stay and they'll thrive and they'll give all of themselves, which just helps the organization flourish overall. So that would be my goal, is to work with companies, help them figure out who are the people, you got the right people in place, do you have the right processes in place? And then let's turn that into, how does that translate into your deliverable, your profit, whatever that might be.
This is simple, but at the same time, really amazing, because a lot of people, they don't see the companies they're working for as the vehicle for their dreams. Most of the time, because the company is not really organized and it doesn't give them the tools they need to thrive. So most people are frustrated in their jobs because they want to do better, and many times they don't have the resources or the tools or the guidance they need to do better, right? So when I'm listening to you, I see Jen helping those organizations become more organized, have better processes, so they can better assist their employees so they can thrive. And when you are able to do that, you transform companies and vehicles for people's dreams. So people will stay helping that company as well achieve its dreams, right? So I really see you as someone that is able to equip people and organizations so everybody is much more successful, like helping good people achieve greater results through the organizations they represent.
You are a fabulous interviewer, because you just grabbed all of that and put it so eloquently. Thank you, Fabio. Spot on.
No,
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you. I don't know if you mind explaining to us, what is this medal all about on your right?
Sure, I'm happy to. So this medal, I have not run any 5Ks. The only place I have run is to the fast food restaurant. Um, that is my National Speakers Association CSP medal. And CSP stands for Certified Speaking Professional. So I'm proud of it, and it's been up there, and I've had some people say, we don't really know what it means. I was like, it means something to me. But it takes about 5 to 10 years to attain that. And about less than 10% of the professional speakers across the world take the time. It's a lot of paperwork.
I
But
know.
it's I know you do. But it's based on just professionalism on the platform, and recommendations from past customers that they would hire you again, and revenue and number of speaking engagements. So just, I call it, if you've heard of the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval, it's kind of a little stamp. So that's my CSP medal. It means a lot to me. It was a personal goal. So I use that as an example. Once I first qualified, it would take at least 5 years, and I had a 5-year goal, and I did it in 5 years. There's a minimum of 5 years for sure. So,
Yeah, so people watching, listen, I am a member and Jen is a member of the National Speaker Association, and that's where you can get your certified speaking professional medal. And as she was explaining, being a member, being a professional member of the National Speakers Association is already an honor because not everybody qualified. And then when you qualify for the CSP medal is even harder because you must have like you must have made some good money speaking. So it's a proof that you were adding value to your clients, so they were willing to pay you good money first. And of course, you must have a certain amount of hours to qualify as well. And you must have like a complete list of clients who are willing to give you testimonials and endorsing your competence, your eloquence, and your ethics in this profession. And so several layers of let's say of the qualification process to earn that medal. So it's not for anybody. So you're looking at a person that is not only fabulous and willing to help, but she has helped for sure. And this medal is a kind of a proof, a living proof that she's been adding value to hundreds of organizations through all the years. So it's another motive for me to be honored to be interviewing you today.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to give you a challenge. All right.
Okay, let's go.
You are in a big event, okay? And you are going to speak to 3 different audiences in the same event.
Okay.
It's like you have like 3 major conference rooms. The first one, you have individual contributors. They're not leaders. They are individual contributors. On the second room, you have leaders of teams, right? Leaders of individual contributors. And in the third room, you have leaders of leaders. Okay? And you're going to move from one room to the other. And I want you to tell me what would be your opening statement in each one of those rooms to grab the attention of that audience. So your first room is individual contributors. You have 1,000 of them. And you're about to start, and I say go, and you're going to say this opening statement. That would be impactful enough to make everybody stop scrolling, stop texting, stop talking to each other, and they're going to be in silence, reflecting on what you just said. What would be that statement?
Wow.
I told you it would be a challenge.
Yes. Because I consider myself a professional and because I have my opening lines that grab people's attention based on the content and the topic, I'm thinking, wow, all right, if in 10 minutes someone said, we need a keynote, you've got to go in and you've got to start with this. So first off, my absolutely would be a shocking statement or a question. So it can be a question.
It can be a question if you want.
Yes.
So imagine everybody's watching you right now. Those 1,000 people, they are watching you right now. You're about to start. So take a deep breath and say it.
In the individual contributors room.
Yes.
Where I would prefer to start because I would get a lot of information that would help me with the leaders of those contributors and the leaders of those leaders. So that's where I would start to get my research done. My first question would be, are you frustrated with the fact that your team members don't seem to perform at the highest level that you think that they should perform?
Great. I like it. So you put everybody into the reflection mode. Okay, let me see. Am I frustrated? Yes. Joe is not really helping me as he could. Something like that. So everybody would be trying to evaluate their own contribution and their team members' contribution. Great. I love it. All right. No say no more. That's enough. Now, let's say you go through the speech, you're awesome, and people give you insights. And of course, you've been there already. So they're going to share with you several different points and frustrations and desires and so on. And then that presentation is over. You go to the second room. Now you're going to talk to their leaders.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your opening statement or question to really make them right there stop everything they're doing and go,
Probably the same one, Fabio. You know, have you
why? Why the
experienced?
same one? Give me a reason. Why the same one?
Because I believe that it applies. The individual contributors are challenged with more with their peers. You know, what frustrates them with their peers. So I led with more of a leader question with that one. But I think that it would be, are you frustrated with, and how are you frustrated would be the better question as opposed to a yes or no. How are you frustrated with the people on your team that you don't feel like step up to the plate? They don't pull their weight. They don't show up and give their all like you do. So that would be more of that deep dive into the individual contributors. And with the leaders, it would be more of that. Have you experienced, and what does that look like when you have people on your team that aren't pulling their weight? They're not, they don't seem to be engaged. You've tried everything and they still don't seem to give you their all, or they push back on any request. And you're first, they seem to be talented. They had the experience that you were looking for, but they're just not contributing like you want them to contribute. So that would be my leaders of contributors that I would respond to. And do you want me to go into leaders of leaders?
Yes, but before,
Okay.
I want to just give you like a follow-up challenge on that.
Okay.
So you told them your opening question or statement for the leaders of individual contributors, the second room, and now you're going to complete this sentence, okay? You just told them what you told them, and now you're going to complete the sentence. Have you ever thought about how your teams would perform if you just blank, you complete?
Have you ever thought about how your team would perform if you just, the first thing that comes to mind is had the right people in the right places.
Right. That's good. So if you just had the right people in the right places, that's awesome, because those leaders will start thinking, do I have the right people in the right places? What do I have to do to find the right people and to prepare them to be in the right places? I like it. All right, now let's go to the third room. So you're
Okay.
talking to leaders of leaders, CEOs, presidents, no, business owners. So they lead leaders, and you were about to say your opening statement or question. And this has to be different from the other two. How would you address them?
It would be along the same vein. However, my question could be, do you find yourself frustrated when the people that you manage don't seem to align with the company vision, with the way that they lead their people? So as you know, Fabio, often we've got our C-suite, our executive suite, as we refer to it, that have this vision, and they're in this ivory tower, again, metaphorically or physically. They're in this place where they're talking about company vision and mission and how we're going to move the company forward. And then they think that they translate that to the leaders, or there's a lot of discussion up top. And then all of a sudden there's an email that goes out and says, hey, we're all going to do X. We're going to have everyone wear purple because it's the company color, and we believe that that will bring more loyalty. But they don't ever connect the dots. And so the leaders at the top get very, very frustrated with those that they lead, because then those leaders turn around to the individual contributors and just go, starting next Friday, everybody wear purple because it's the company brand. And everyone's looking around going, what's going on? And so there are some things that are lost in communication and in that translation that don't get to the heart of the why, and don't get to the heart of the people for them to understand, for one, for those leaders are leading to buy in to why there's a change or what needs to happen. And so when they're not bought in, when they are frustrated with what the next move is or what the next change is, and my goodness, we've faced more change faster. There's all sorts of research on how things are changing even faster in these days. Then those leaders of the individual contributors, that's even tougher for them to explain it. They're just going, I just got an email. They want everybody on board. Just do it. And so there's not that buy-in. There's not that personal connection. There's not that heart connection. And so it doesn't resonate with those individual contributors, which often are on the front line. And they're the ones that are dealing with the customers. And they're the ones that are actually serving the people that the organization serve. And so they're frustrated. They're going, well, we're just wearing purple because it's our brand color. Again, that's an analogy, a metaphor. But I think that's the biggest challenge, is that sometimes the trickle down effect is not communicated as well as it should be, to get the buy-in from everyone, to build that retention, that loyalty, and that engagement.
You're 100% correct about that. Now, let me just throw at you another challenge, a follow-up challenge on that, right? Let's say you did your opening and you're already talking to this audience, and then you're going to complete this question. You're going to ask, this leaders of leaders. In a scale from 0 to 10, how do you honestly would rate your ability to blank?
As a follow-up question from what you just said, is communicate your expectations from the leaders and from their people.
Perfect. You see, everybody watching, you probably noticed that Jen is very concerned about helping people get over the frustration, right? Because frustration is kind of the cause of a lot of other problems, right? When people get frustrated, even the most motivated people, the most talented people, if they get frustrated, they don't perform 100%. So her work, Jen's work, is always helping leaders and their teams to identify what are the problems that are causing those frustrations, and the individual contributors in the leaders and in the leaders of leaders. And of course, those frustrations are creating blocks, barriers for everybody's success. And although a lot of other consultants keep talking about objectives and goals, none of those goals will be achieved if people are frustrated. So it's simple, but at the same time, super powerful. And it's not easy to do. You need somebody that is an expert in helping people identify those frustrations. There are those psychological blocks, and that are caused many times for lack of processes, lack of communication, lack of clarity, and clean the environment from those frustrations so everybody can perform in the highest level. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. You are a fantastic interviewer, Fabio, because you can grab all of that and translate it into something that is very useful for the listeners out there. So my hope is that something resonated with them and they said, you know what, I've seen that happen in my organization. This is a challenge that we're having. And, or maybe even do some self-reflection and say, I'm guilty of that. And, just sending an email, sending out an edict that says this shall be, and you send that out without realizing that you're not getting that buy-in. There's not the why behind it. There's not the explanation. There's not clear communication. You might not even have the right people in the place to be able to communicate that to the team, or the right leaders in place to communicate that to the team. So beautiful way to wrap that up. I think people will see themselves there. And I know your goal of Fabulous with Fabio is to help share that information with people so that they can begin to start to reflect and say, I have this challenge. How can I
Yeah.
How can I need to move the needle forward? I need to move the ball down the field, to use an American football team. So we need to, make little baby steps in progress to help the organization be more successful long term.
Humility is a proof of wisdom, right? So I believe if, as you said, if people just recognize they have a problem and they start to see that maybe there is a better way to do things, we are on the right track to solve the problem, right? So my goal here is, talking to fabulous people like you, is help people see with different approaches, but help people see where they can do better, help people see new ways, better ways to approach the problems we all face every day. Because we all, if you're watching this, for everybody watching, if you're watching, instead of watching any other, blah, 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 right? If you're watching this, it's because you want to do better. You want to do a good job as a leader, as an individual contributor. You want to do a good job. So we are here to help you do a better job and help you stay humble and learning and growing, because that's the only way to evolve, is keep your mind open and absorbing things and trying new things and experimenting. And of course, with the proper guidance from experts, you can save time, save money, and do the right thing faster than you ever thought possible. So I want you now, Jan, to continue your generosity act here, sharing with us maybe 3 main lessons that your clients have told you they learned from you already. Try to summarize 3 main lessons that after working with so many organizations and people, probably you heard people coming to you, hey Jen, what you told me about this was awesome, I learned with you this. So try to summarize 3 key lessons that your clients have told you that they were super powerful for them, so our audience here also can benefit from those.
Sure. So the first one goes back to people. So I'm a certified advisor for a Recruit the Best system. And so one of the big key things that I've helped organizations that they'll come back to tell me is that once they change their way of hiring and looking at people, you just talked about changing the perspective, changing your mindset, being open to new ideas, is that they were able to find the right people for the right positions. So I think that's one of the biggest ones, is making sure that they've got the right people in place. So that's one huge thing that people come to me and just say, this is fantastic. This was a great hire. It's a great fit. It's thriving. So I love hearing that I was able to be.
The best way to find the right people is to have the right process of hiring them.
Correct. Absolutely correct. 100%. There's a lot more behind that, but that sums it up. So that's one of the things. The second thing is sales is a heavy area of my expertise, as it is yours. And so having them come to me and saying, Jan, you have shortened the cycle of we've gotten rid of the people. We got rid of the people that weren't cutting it, just because we just thought, oh, they have a great personality, and we moved them up in the business, and they ended up in a position. They were frustrated. Leadership was frustrated. Customers were frustrated. The brand was damaged. So that's one thing, but that goes back to the people. But shortening the cycle and helping them be more effective with their actual sales processes. So knowing that they've got a process in place, and Fabio, I know you've seen this, that so often, and I call it the go get 'em tiger method, but they say, I'm the new employee. Fabio is the best salesperson on the team. And so they say, Jan, go follow Fabio around and just do what Fabio does. Go get him, tiger. And that often is the sales training.
Yeah.
So there's no process to follow. There's no formula. And of course, that person flounders and wastes time, and again, damaged brand, lost opportunities. So often, so helping them actually put a process in place. People come to me and they say, you've given us the biggest impact because you've given us a process to follow. And that also helps the leaders to be able to say, where are you in the process? Did you follow this? Did you do this? Did you do these steps? And so having that process just helps align the entire company so that the individual contributors in sales, or whether they're answering the phone or their customer service or they're a technician out in the field, they are all on the same page, and those leaders can follow that and can encourage them, and they're all on one same page, rather than, well, I do this and I do this, well, I handle it this way. It's not all over the place. It streamlines that, and so they see more impact and faster growth that way.
So having a process accelerates results.
You're so eloquent with the words.
And English is my second language. I'm still learning a lot.
I love it. I love it.
Let's go to the third lesson then.
And so the third lesson would be just ultimate fulfillment for the organization and the individuals involved. So you asked very early on vision and mission, and my passion is that when we have the right people in the right place and we've got the right processes in place, the company thrives from a profitability standpoint, whether that's literal profitability or for nonprofits or altruistic organizations, it's achieving whatever goal that is. So they thrive, and there's a fulfillment for the organization, but also the individual does. And so when that person goes home at night, when they walk in the door, they feel fulfilled. They feel that they're not, we all have frustrations. That's never going to go away. There's always going to be hiccups and mountains to climb. But at the end of the day, they feel like they're making, to use another American football term, they're making forward progress, so that they go and they show up to their families, their loved ones, their friends, their community in a better place. And when that helps financially, they're able to feel more secure. They're able to achieve their own personal goals. They're able to give more generously. And so when that individual contributor is winning, the leaders of those people are winning, the leaders of those leaders are winning, and everyone's on that same trajectory to reach that ultimate goal. Because the person that goes home at night, to their kids and their family, or their dog or their cat, whatever it is, or their tiger, that they feel fulfilled knowing that they're making a difference with their organization, and everyone above them is also feeling fulfilled. And that helps just move whatever they're serving, whether it's delivering a meal or manufacturing a product or providing a nonprofit service. Everyone's feeling fulfilled. And then that's where I believe that real joy comes in. So a little bit of a long answer, but that's
perfect. I don't know if everybody listening had this experience, and maybe some people that if they've never had something like that in a work environment, they're gonna maybe think, wow, that's not really possible. I can assure you guys what she's saying is possible. I lived that as an executive before I became a professional speaker back in 1996. Before that, I was able to have this kind of environment with my team. Everybody was feeling fulfilled. Everybody was happy about their job, passionate about their job. And we made a huge difference in our clients' lives. And we got extraordinary results as well. We went from 2% market share to 87% market share in 3 years. So it is possible to have something like that. Maybe if you don't know how, ask for help. We are here to help you guys. And Jen is an expert in helping organizations really put the right pieces and the right people in the right places, so you can really accelerate results. Jen, I want to ask you to wrap up everything here. The first steps. Let's say if someone wants to achieve that goal of having this extraordinary organization, this fabulous results, what would be the first 1, 2, 3 steps they could take? And that may include how could they approach you? What would be the first step in getting to know you better? But if not, what they can start doing by themselves if they want to, even before reaching out to us.
Great question. So I'll answer the easy one first. So There are lots of opportunities. So there could be different frustrations, different challenges that each individual or each individual organization might face.
Mhm.
So I typically just start with a phone call just to find out. So very easy to go to my website at janspence.com. There's a contact form there that
Mhm.
people can just say, hey, here's my challenge. Let's talk. And then we just set up a conversation. And Fabio, being in the network, if they have a challenge that I can't solve, I've got a huge network of people that I know are experts that I can refer them to.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing, is to, if they can eloquently tell me their challenge, then I can say, hey, here's the person you need to talk to. Or we just have a brief conversation to understand if it's something that I think I can help them with, and we go into some deeper conversation and talk further with that. So that's the easiest thing, is just going to my website, janspence.com. So that was the first question. As far as what to do on their own, I think probably the biggest thing is to, I know, Fabio, authenticity is very important to you,
Mhm.
and you live that. You're as real as they come. That's very important to you and to the people that you bring on your show, and I so appreciate that as well. This is not a sales pitch. This is about helping other individuals get to the next level, and how can they grow their business? How can they be more fabulous? And so to be really honest with yourself and say, where I'm at now, is what I'm doing now going to get me where I want to go?
Mhm.
And so sometimes really looking in the mirror and just saying, there's room for change here, and being honest with yourself first. And then from there saying, doing that inventory to say, you know what, I don't think I'm being the leader that I need to be. Or I am that person that just sends out the email and says, do this. I'm too busy. Just run with it. Don't ask questions. Just go. Just really, really being honest with yourself. So
Mhm.
doing that inventory. And there are some of us that struggle with seeing our own blind spots, and we don't know where we're missing. So there are people that can help with that, that can certainly help you see your own blind spots. And so maybe it's doing an inventory of that with your team and with your leaders, to just say, where do we need to grow? What are we missing? What am I missing as a leader that no one's willing to tell me? And so at that point, you start seeing these. If you create that environment and that culture where people are willing to be open, then they'll be willing to say, hey, I really think we need some help in this area. And as you begin to hear that and be open to that, you can begin to look in the mirror and then get help in that specific area. And I'm sure you can direct them in that area for sure.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you again so much for being in the show and for sharing your story, your lessons, your vision, and everything that you have shared with us today. I hope everybody watching will scroll down to see the description of the video for the link for your website, and then for your TEDx talk. We're going to put everything there. And I'm really honored that you came to the show and uh, shared everything that you did. And again, I want to make sure that everybody watching realize how important our conversation was, so they can look at themselves with open minds, but not to criticize themselves, not to feel bad about themselves, but to really feel open to learn, to grow, to evolve. There is a solution, okay? Maybe you watching, you think, oh my God, I have this business, it's not growing, I'm struggling, I don't have a life, I don't know what to do with my people, I don't know, nobody listens to me. There is a solution. Maybe you don't have all the tools you need. Maybe you are not prepared to manage a business this size. Just ask for help, and we are here to help you. If you schedule a call with Jen, I know Jen, she's never going to try to sell you anything. She's really going to listen to you. Probably she's going to give you some very good insights right there in this, complimentary call. It's worth taking this step and looking for help. There is always a solution to make your organization do better, to make your people happier in the workplace. In the workplace, so there is a solution. And with that being said, again, I want you to remember, all of you guys, this is Fabulous with Fabio. My fabulous guest today, Jen Spence. You can see this in our YouTube channel, Fabio Marques 007. You're going to be able to see this as well in Jen's channel, I believe, right, Jen?
Absolutely.
Going to put there as well. You're going to be able to see this in LinkedIn. And of course, you're going to be able to listen to this later in our podcast, Powerful Insights for Business. I want to thank you again. I want to wish health and wealth to you, Jen, and to everybody watching. And say, just choose to be fabulous. It is possible.
You've been wonderful. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. I hope that it helped someone today. It resonated with someone's today and beyond. And we get to live out our purpose by just helping other people grow and reach their dreams. So thank you for having me.
Agree. You're very, very much welcome.